welcome to today's lesson. So today's topic is mail merge in Microsoft Word, and we'll ask, what is mail merge? This is simply a facility or a feature in Microsoft Word that allows you to send an individualized letter to different people. So you type one document and you can send that document to a lot of people, but it still contain the same information. Okay, so now the first thing you do is obviously open a blank Microsoft Word document, and I'm assuming by now everybody knows how to do that. Okay, so after you open Microsoft Word, a blank document, so you're going to find all those features in the ribbon there. You have home, insert, design, and the like. Okay, so each one of those has different functions that can be used to edit and manipulate text within a Word document, but the one that we're interested in would be what is referred to as mailing for today. Okay, so once you click in mailing, so now you select start mail merge and select later. Then you go to start select recipient, so you can either type the recipients or use already existing list. So if at all you are typing the recipients, which in this case we are, you click on select recipient. All right, so as we can see from the dialog box, there's a lot of information or a lot of data can be entered in that dialog box. So we have the title, which is Mr., Miss, or Mrs. if your customer goes by one of those titles. You have the first name, you have the last name or the surname, you have company name, address line number 1, and once you slide you slide to the right, you find that there'll be a lot of other columns that will come up. Right, so since we have not been given data like for company name and all those things, those columns can then be edited to suit the information that we have or the data that we have pertaining to these customers that are owing us. Okay, so now since we've been given such things as amounts, dates, and account numbers, and none of those columns are in that dialog box, so we're going to add those by simply customizing the columns. So we just click on customize, and then you type the column that you want to add, or the column that you want to edit, the column name that you want to edit. And once you're done with everything, then you can then enter those details for amounts, date, and account number into those columns that you've now created. Alright, so once you're done, then you can now say OK, and a pop-up menu will come up for you to save your document or save the database that you've created now. So this database has to be saved with the name followed by .csv, which is supposed to represent comma separated values. Okay, so csv.csv, any name that you want, but it has to end with .csv, which is comma separated values, and this is commonly used in database management softwares. Alright, so with like everything in place now, the database and names of customers, let's imagine there were hundreds of them. So now we have to type the address of the business. So obviously for me, it would take a lot of time for me to start typing, so I'd already typed this, just copying and pasting it from one Word document onto this one. Okay, so we copy and paste in this case, but yourself, in case tutorial, you have to type, and we're going to align it to the center. You can, depending on what the question has said, whether you align to the left or right or just 5, but in this case we want to align to the center. So I just showing today, this is the business name, so the name of the business, and as you can see, the document or the name of the business is in bold. Okay, so now after everything has been done with the title of the document that we've typed, we'll go back to MailMage and start adding fields. The first field we're adding is title. Leave a space. We add the first name, you leave a space, add the last name, then you press enter to go into the second row. In the second row, we're starting with adding now the first address. Then below the first address, we'll add the second address. Okay, alright, and below that you type dear, since it's a letter, it's a formal letter, isn't it? So dear Mr. So again, you add the title field, you leave a space, and then add the last name, dear Mr. Miko, dear Mr. Chanda, just like that. Okay, so then after all this is done, you now type the main body, as you call it in English, I think. So for me, since like I said, not going to type all of that, and if I did that, this would be a longer video, so I'm just going to copy it from something already typed, then just paste it onto this part of the document. Okay, so there are 3 options there for pasting. You can just paste it as text, or use the format from the previous document, or you choose whichever one that you prefer in case you're trying to copy something from one part to the other. Okay, so now there are those parts where we need to enter certain details like amount, the date on which the transaction took place, and the account number. So those are the fields. So again, the same way you do the fields on top, you go to insert field. Yeah, you insert the field for amount, you insert the field for date, you insert the field for the account number of the person. Okay, so after doing all that, now you start going through what is known as spell check, which is checking whether the words in the document are actually spelled correctly. So the words that are spelled wrongly are going to be underlined with a red line. If there's a problem with the grammar or any other syntax sort of, it will be underlined with either blue or green. So all those that are in red have to be checked and make sure to say the document is perfect. Okay. Alright, so now there are two ways of doing of finishing up mirror merge. So the first way is where you just click on where it says finish mirror merge. Okay, so finish mirror merge and say print. So since you're sending out physical letters, okay, so a dialog sort of like a box will pop up where you need to sort of like enter the details, whether you want to print everything or just print a certain section of it, filter some stuff. Okay, so since we only have two, and obviously if you're doing this, meaning you're going to do for almost everybody that you've typed into the database. Okay, so you follow the wizard to print out the letters that you want to print, and you save. We've noticed there at the bottom below where you're going to type your name, you say in PDF documents. So whatever you're printing will be in a PDF format, so to say. Okay, the second way is where you go to start mirror merge and select step by step. Okay, so step by step a wizard comes up and just follow the wizard. Next. There should be about 6 steps that you have to follow, and you're back to finishing up. So now, as you can see, you have the fields now being filled up with actual names of people or customers which are drawn from the database. Okay, so with this, I'm assuming you can see where it says find recipient there on the top right corner there. So you can use that to check through and see whether all the names are intact. Okay, so now in case maybe one or two customers have been omitted, or maybe a question is asking you to filter certain information out of certain customers, so to just print out a certain number of customers, you can go back to the edit recipient, and you're going to find that dialog box. Okay, so in this case we want to add, say, one extra customer that was left out, so we're going to add that customer and see whether our list will be updated at the end of it. Alright, so that is about it on mail merge. Hopefully you learned one or two things. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.